What would a Fox broadcast be without the used car salesman Mike Huckabee? This guy has a permanent address in Trump Fantasyland. Here are his comments regarding the condition of the race and his belief that Trump is still going to win and basically win by a lot.
Governor Mike Huckabee and founding executive director of Georgetown's Institute of Politics and former traveling press secretary to Clinton's 2008 campaign, Mo Alithi. Great to see you both. So let me just ask you about that, Mo. I'm going to start with you first as the Democrat, whether you think Larry has it right that these Republicans are coming home and that the race is tightening, but it's not tightening so much that she's now losing.
Yeah, I think that is right. I think Trump had been struggling a little bit with Republicans. He wasn't hitting the proportion that past Republican nominees had gotten among Republican voters. That ship seems to be righting for him a little bit right now. But as we all know, that's not enough. And we haven't seen a collapse in Clinton support in any real way. We see Trump gaining ground. She's still doing very well in a lot of these states. I'm getting a little bit of whiplash these days just trying to keep up with all these state polls. And a lot of times we're getting 3 or 4 polls in the same state on the same day showing very different results.
Before I go to the governor, would you believe these late polls? You know, I mean, so close to Election Day.
Yeah, here's the real challenge, and we saw this in 2012 with these late battleground state polls. It is hard for them to take into account the impact of the early voting that's going on. And
is that a significant factor? Should we be paying attention to that?
I think we do need to. You look at a state like Florida, where just in the last 24 hours, we have seen a huge surge in the black early vote. We've seen a huge surge in Broward County, a huge Democratic stronghold in the state. That makes a huge difference in a race that's as tight as Florida is right now, and the polls may not be picking up on that.
Governor,
I actually don't believe that she asked that question, is early voting a significant factor? Everybody and their brother knows that early voting is always a significant factor. The Democrats have a history in the states that they win of building up like huge numbers as far as early voting is concerned, and then the Republicans come in on election day and start knocking those numbers down. And then it just becomes a question of who got the most voter turnout. So the question that she asked, is early voting a significant factor? Dumb question. All right, are you ready? Here comes the used car salesman.
do you think, I said on the air last night, she's so glad that the election is November 8th instead of December 8th? You know, it's like given the momentum that we're seeing here. But do you think, and what do you base it on, that Trump can get this done by November 8th? Because he doesn't have that extra month.
Megyn, he's going to get it done. I've said for months, and I believe it now more than ever, he's going to win the election. And part of what I base it on, look at the two candidates on the stump. He's the happy warrior. He's out there having fun. He's doing so many events a day, but he's having fun. Hillary is not having fun. I mean, the difference is this. You have Trump, who looks like the happy warrior. Hillary looks like the lady who didn't give anybody candy on Halloween, shut her door and turned her lights off. So.
Really, to me, I thought Trump looked like the Grinch who stole Christmas as far as all the lying and misinformation he's putting out there. But, okay, you know, that's my opinion. The used car salesman has his. But just look at that face.
Your choice is the Trump or the Grump. And I'm telling you, Americans want to vote for somebody that looks like that they're going somewhere, not somebody who looks like they're sorry that they've been somewhere.
Okay,
and Americans obviously they want to vote for somebody who hasn't stiffed regular people trying to earn a living like Trump has, isn't a misogynist, a xenophobe, a racist, etc. They don't want to vote for that type of a person.
That's the difference.
The other thing we saw with Trump this week, it was yesterday, that I have to point out to you, he went after Marco Rubio and Christie, his surrogate, did for being a robot in the primary campaign. And we saw a moment of Donald Trump seeming a little programmed that she hit him on, where he was saying, what was it, be steady, Donald, calm, stay calm, Donald. She reiterates it. Watch.
Now, he knows we can see and hear him, right? This is someone who at another rally yesterday actually said out loud to himself, "Stay on point, Donald, stay on point." His campaign probably put that in the teleprompter. "Stay on point, Donald, stay on point." So is this someone we want to put in charge of our military?
Go ahead, Gov.
I don't know about you guys, but she looked like she was having fun with that one. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really think that his people put that "stay on point" in his teleprompter.
Donald Trump was making fun of himself. That's the indication of a guy who's out there having a good time. He's able to point fun at himself. Hillary, on the other hand, is under criminal investigation. No wonder.
So is Donald Trump. He's under criminal investigation for Trump University. And he got a break where the judge pushed that particular trial off until after the election. But they always fail to mention that piece of it. And then he's got another federal lawsuit that's in the works right now. So both of these guys are going to be looking at lawsuits one way or the other after this election is over. Clinton, possibly, if the FBI that's been, I guess, infiltrated by these Breitbart people, if they have their way, she's definitely going to be looking at something. And we absolutely know that Trump's going to be looking at something. So
she's nervous.
Yeah, that would make you grumpy. What states are you going to be looking at, Governor? I mean, what if you pick the top three that you are going to be focused on Tuesday night?
Certainly Florida, I think, but he's going to win Florida. The Panhandle will vote for Donald Trump 80% and help overcome some things on the I-4 corridor in South Florida. I think another state to watch is going to be North Carolina. Trump will win North Carolina, and I would give you a third one, Pennsylvania. Let me give you a little quick anecdote from North Carolina. A friend of mine was passing out voter guides at an early voting booth in North Carolina. People were lined up, and a Democrat was also passing out a Democrat version of a voter's guide, just where do the candidates stand with an issue. People were taking the Republican voting guide. Nobody was taking the Democrat guide. The Democrat worker came over to my friend who was running the Republican side and leaned over and said, "Gee, nobody is taking my voter guide," and I don't blame them. That was pretty powerful.
now, I believe the first part of the story, depending on where the guy was handing out the Democratic guides. I'm sorry about that. But that last part, as far as the worker saying that nobody was taking his guides and he doesn't blame them, that's a bunch of bullshit because that's a volunteer position. So anybody volunteering to do that is not going to make that statement. But number two, and more importantly, the used car salesman, again, is living in Trump fantasy land if he believes that Pennsylvania is going to go to Donald Trump. She is going to win Pennsylvania, no ifs, ands, or buts.
You better hope that's happening all over the country in every single state. Before I let you go, Mo, your top three states you're going to be watching on Tuesday.
I'm going to agree with the governor on two of them. I think North Carolina and Florida. The later into the night those go, and I think they're going to go pretty late, you know, that could tell us a lot. I'm also looking out west at Nevada. There are very few scenarios right now where Donald Trump can win this without winning Nevada, and the Democratic turnout in Clark County, the home of Las Vegas, is coming in pretty high. So that could tell us a lot as well.
He's up two. She was ahead. He's up two now, according to the latest polls in Nevada. Great to see you both.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, so in case you didn't notice, and I'm making a point out of it, the used car salesman got the majority of the time in this segment, while the other gentleman, he got the opening comment, and he got to make a closing comment on the states that he's looking at. Other than that, the used car salesman, again, got the majority of the interaction here.